We are celebrating the launch of Hearing God in the Noise, written by one of our awesome authors, Kerri-Ann Luketic. KA is going to share her authoring journey with us, as well as some of the powerful truths that she writes about in her book. You don't want to miss this episode. It is going to be epic. Welcome, awesome authors. You are listening to the Answering the Call to Write podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Farndale, and this episode is brought to you by Paper Crown Media. Hello, awesome authors, and thank you for being here watching the Answering the Call to Write podcast. I am so excited about today's episode because I have not only an amazing author with me, and we're going to be celebrating the launch of her book, Hearing God in the Noise, but she's also a very, very dear friend of mine, Kerri-Ann Luketic, all the way from Queensland, Australia. So I just want to read her bio to you because it's so cool. Kerri-Ann is a passionate storyteller. She's a professional life coach and a dynamic speaker with over 20 years experience in transformational success principles. Living by the beach on the beautiful Queensland coast in Australia, she loves spending quality time with her family, exploring creativity through writing, art, and adventure, and watching her favorite movies. In her latest book, Hearing God in the Noise, Kerri-Ann shares her personal journey of overcoming spiritual noise to live in the truth of our identity in Jesus. She has an inspired ability to decode spiritual intelligence and articulate it in a way that others can understand and recognize that through it all, the Lord reveals his love and his desire for each of his beloved to hear, see, and to know him. I love that so much, Ka. It's just what a mission in life. And then I just want to mention that you're also a certified coach with the Brave Thinking Institute, and you specialize in helping intuitively inspired women to build their dreams, accelerate their results, and magnify their message to create lives they love.
Yeah.
You're an amazing, amazing human. And I just love that I get to call you friend as well. So, Ka, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, Melissa, thank you so much for having me. It is so amazing to have this opportunity to be with you in the Zoom room, let alone anything else that comes from this. I love spending time with you, and I thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
So you have just written and published your amazing book, Hearing God in the Noise. Woohoo! Round of applause.
Yay!
And it has been a journey. It's been a journey. I remember we started out together. Was it during the pandemic in 2020?
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels like eons ago, doesn't it? Like
Yes.
all the way back when when we started to put pen to paper and believe in the possibility of creating our first books and see them come to print. Like it was the biggest, most scariest, exciting dream to possibly have and to consider, would this actually come to fruition, and could we potentially have books of our own that we could go, look what we did, look at our little book babies. It's been awesome.
It was such a special time, and I felt like it was such a divinely appointed time. I learned so much and connected with so many beautiful, amazing hearts. So I want to kind of just go back there for just a brief moment and ask you, why did you pick up your pen to begin with? What was that first moment that you realized that you had a book inside you and it needed to be written?
I just remember the unction that came up. That's the best way I can describe it, that there was just this, oh, I think I could actually do this. Only like 6 months prior had I got to a place where with the Lord's prompting and a whole lot of might and courage, I decided I would jump onto Facebook and make a little group and invite people to come and join me to do some Facebook Lives, because I was just really burning with some thoughts and some breakthrough technology, I would like to call it now. I probably wouldn't have called it that back then, but I knew it was what the Lord had shown me over the years. Had all come together to a point where I've gone, I have to share this with other people. There are other women who need to know this. There are other people just like me. I have to share this. So I got on and organized just for a couple of days in the mornings to have people come and join me live. And I shared. After 5-6 days of doing that, and a couple of months passing by, I kind of realized, hold on a second, that's some really good content. That's actually got some real meat to it. And then the idea of the book kind of crossed right past me, and I've gone, there's something in that. I need to follow that and that unction that was within me. Could I possibly even create something of substance that was, like, these books are pretty thick and there's a lot of pages and a lot of words, and I don't know, maybe could I? And I just followed that. I just followed it, inspired by the thought of what it might be like to have my own book, and landed in the most beautiful community with amazing people like yourself, created such beautiful friendships that allowed the opportunity to give me the encouragement I needed to keep going. And I'm just so glad that we've got to today and I can actually hold my own book and go, check that out. Highly recommended. Shameless plug.
Yeah. So how does it feel to hold that book baby in your hand?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, like, a little bit of my story. This was quite the journey to come to this stage of being in writing, in, physical, hold on to it, not just a digital version of my book. And many roadblocks, I guess I'd like to call it. Just you get to that point where it was just about ready and something would come and we'd do it again, and then something would come and do it again and something would come. And it felt like roadblock after roadblock. And I know that, I certainly got to a point where I had to go, I'm laying it down, Lord, because I don't know how to get this book into print, because everything that I put my hand to, it's just not working. It's just not coming together. And I would have to say that, hopelessness came in and made camp in my heart. And I just kind of went, okay, that's not the dream. This is not how it worked out, but I have to put it down because I have to kind of move on. Everything I tried has come to nil. So for a long time, my book was just a PDF, and then it was just a kind of an ebook on Amazon, and then it was only until recently when a beautiful friend of mine, who happens to have a fantastic media publishing company, talked to me and went, let's get together and make this a reality. And then all of a sudden it was like, does that dream still have some life in it? Like, I don't know. And I know that we talked a bit, and I really struggled in that space of going, I don't actually know if this is something to pursue, because we tried so hard, and honestly, hope deferred is a deal, right? It's there. We've all experienced it in some shape or form. And I really had to push past that hope deferred space and allow myself to dream again and believe that actually, let's pick it up, and yes, let's keep going. And there is something that other people can see that I've given up on seeing, but it's time now to see what that might look like if it could come to fruition. And then lo and behold, with your beautiful team and all you amazing ladies are so incredible, and your encouragement, and you're like, come on, we can do this. We did it. And like, this is just beyond words exciting to actually be in this place, to hold this book and to look at it every day on my desk and go, oh my goodness, look what happened. How good are you, Lord? Like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, deep gratitude, and just without crying and getting all snotty nosed and doing that, need more tissues. This is a very liberating moment to have my book and to be able to talk about it.
I just love the fact that we are actually at this point with this beautiful book baby in your hand. I know from the very first time I connected with you in that writing community that you carried something truly special, and so valuable in the kingdom, KA. So I want to just honor you for for sharing that beauty and that wisdom in your heart, because we as authors, we are not doing this to showcase ourselves, or to show the world how brilliant we are. Look, we've written a book. We are doing this for someone. We are sharing the light that we've received from the source himself with
Yeah.
someone who needs to come out of darkness and step into that wonderful light of the kingdom. So I want to just for a minute talk about your book, and then we're going to talk to the authors listening, because I think just you sharing what you've just shared is, there are so many people I know, so many authors who are in that process, and there's one thing after the other, and it feels like one setback after the other, and they
Mm.
just need that encouragement. So thank you for sharing that part of your journey as well. Let's talk about the core message behind your book. I want to talk about what that core message is and who you wrote this book for.
Mm.
And your book is titled Hearing God in the Noise. And I know from knowing you that you've had some experience with that spiritual noise and living in an atmosphere. Do you want to share a little bit about your story and how you discovered how to hear God in the noise?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I think most stories come to be, right? Because we've had an experience and we've moved through it and overcome. And so now it becomes it's tried, it's tested, it's reliable. It's something I've done many, many, many times over to get to a place of victory. And that has definitely been my case with my story. So when I say noise, we'll call it spiritual noise, but all the noise in your head, in particular, the noise that comes when you are growing with the Lord, like you go a little bit deeper with him, you say a bigger yes than you said last month, and you learn something new, and all of a sudden there is just this battle within, and the noise just kind of comes, it feels like it comes up from within just to really battle it out with you mentally as to what it is that God, the seed that he's planted in you, and that new thought and that new revelation and that new hope that you've got that's brewing inside. And so I definitely have had many, many, many experiences with lots and lots of noise in different capacities. And so I love that the Lord took the time to teach me how to move through that space, to and like, I just want to say it this way: we're all wanting to hear God's voice. We're all wanting to recognize, okay, which one's God? I've got 3 or 4 voices that I can hear in my head right now. Which one's his? Which one's mine? What is going on? Why can I hear all these conversations? And how can I find that place of peace where everything will just settle down, and I can kind of distinguish between what's noise that I don't need to participate in, and where's the voice of the Lord, and where's my heart speaking in this space. And so my journey was one where, in particular, the noise became the most intense after my marriage broke down, and I moved through quite a traumatic couple of years of separation, divorce, and all the stuff that came with that space, without going into too much detail on that. But it set off a whole heap of triggers inside of me of what does it mean to be a single mum? What does it mean to be a really good single mum? How do I take good care of myself and my children? I had plenty of opposition and resistance in that space for what the Lord was doing. But at each step, God was there to help me. He was there to inspire me, to encourage me, to remind me of what he was doing. And so the book is really those processes, that framework that he put in place within me so I could draw on the intelligence that was coming. And none of it's wasted, right? So any of the noise was actually intel. It was the place of going into the enemy's camp and going, oh, so this is what they're thinking about me, because this is what God's doing in my world. And so I soon learned how to understand the narratives that were playing out in my mind and flip that script and rewrite a new one based on the truth that God was inspiring me to understand. And that's the beauty of being able to hear God in the noise. It doesn't matter if the noise is there now. It actually, that feeds you with phenomenal courage and understanding and wisdom and insight. And you just go, oh, I see. This is why this is all happening. All right. Okay. I've got this. It's fine. And so you get greater strength and greater courage in that space, and you can move through it. And I absolutely love that. And like, nothing is wasted. God uses every single little bit, and it's good nutrients. It's good for your soul, and it's meaty. It's stuff like, you are wise. You are doing a great job. You are growing. Here are the things that I'm teaching you. You can pull all that out of the noise and have a feast, which is brilliant.
Who is the person that you wrote this book for? Like, who would benefit from reading this book the most?
I had this moment in my journey where I had left the church. I'd kind of left God in that whole space, because I really felt that everything that I had learned growing up in church was more like a fairy tale than it was real. I hadn't seen any evidence of the reality of the word moving through lives. Like, yeah, it was good, and it gave you some good, like, foundational stuff in terms of how to behave well and treat people nicely and love and stuff. But it still felt like a fairy tale for me. So I had moved away from the church, not because I was, running away or anything, but just because there was no substance for me. It wasn't until I had this encounter with the Lord through a friend who had enough courage to say to me, she saw things in the spirit. So she'd seen Jesus, she'd seen angels, she'd had these spiritual sight experiences. And my inside, I tell you, it was like this fireworks explosion went off. It just came alive. And I'm like, are you serious? I can't believe, are you telling me that the stuff that's in that Bible is actually real? Now, I had not had that experience with anybody else before until that moment. And so that awakening, the illumination that came into my being just from that conversation, changed everything. And it was like, hands down, I tell you, if she's having it, I'm having it. And I want to find out how to get that. I need to have those experiences. And so I charged at it. It was like, Lord, I just went for it with him. And I'm like asking a zillion million questions. And what's that like? And tell me how that happens. And why can't I see? And I want to see, and I want to hear it. So I just wanted it all. So I went after it. And so I know that I am not the only person who's been in that place before, where they felt a little bit despondent by church, or, their experiences haven't lined up with the word. And they're like, there has to be more, because surely there's got to be more. And they want to feel it in their innermost being, and they want to come alive to it. Like, the word of the Lord should bring life, like this full aliveness moving through them. And then I heard this quote recently, to suck the marrow out of aliveness. We want to suck the marrow out of the word and the aliveness that's in there, and enjoy it moving and coursing through us. So it should allow us to expand and continue to increase. And we should always be on an upward spiral of increase, expansion, revelation, hope, love, all of the beauty that is in the word. I got that from that moment onwards.
Yeah.
And I never ever want to let that go. But I also want to inspire, encourage, and impart to anybody else who's had that thought, it's still just a fairy tale, and go, actually, let me show you how real it is.
Yeah.
Let me show you how to hear. Let me show you how to see. Let me show you how to engage with the heavenly realities that are at hand right here, available right now. Even when you're on planet Earth, you can have all these experiences, and you can step into the fullness of the revelation of the kingdom of God moving in your life and in and around you in everything that you do. So I wrote the book for those people who are looking for that more.
Awesome. That's so amazing. And I just love listening to you talk so passionately about it, because this is what you do now, is you are ushering people into that space where they can experience heavenly realities for themselves. And I know from experience that it changes everything when you can hear God's voice, when you can actually discern between God's voice and all the other noises in the world, because there's so much, especially at such a time as this,
Yes.
so much noise out there. and being able to have that experiential revelation of love himself, you know, and not
Absolutely.
just know about God, but truly, truly get to know him for yourself. There's nothing more amazing than that.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
That's it.
So I just want to read a little bit of what you wrote here. You said, we often negate some of the most powerful revelatory intelligence operating through us because it comes in the form of anxiety, fear, worry, or overwhelming noise. We'd rather get rid of it as quickly as possible instead of taking some time to notice how and why it's moving through us. When you take a moment to delve into that noise that's in your head, transfer it to paper by writing down what you're thinking word for word, you'll begin to see something transformative. You say, look and see what you've written. This priceless gold that is flowing from within you illuminates a part of you that is crying out for the truth. I love that so much, KA. Um, I think that's such a practical tool. Do you just want to speak into that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We go into it in the book as prayer writing. And I guess most of us would recognize the writings of the Psalms of David, where he was just moving through the place of, this is how I'm feeling, these are my emotions, this is what I think. And you watch his whole journey as he documents it out and then moves through into a place of revelatory light. I still believe and I still see and I still trust you, Lord. Like you hear that whole flow. And I think prayer writing really encompasses that. It allows us that opportunity when all the noise is heightened and just like your head's throbbing, your shoulders are like aching because you're clenching your teeth and you feel the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, all that stuff, like the feelings engage with all the thoughts, and it's downright noisy and you just want to turn the volume switch all the way down to low in your head. That is the best time to get your pen and your paper, get some journal paper or something like that, and just write word for word everything that's moving through your thoughts. Like that is the richest intel that you could possibly get out of your inner world, of that mystery hidden space that you have there. And once it's down on paper, and I even give examples out of my journal of how I worked through some things, you're then looking to see, you're looking at the feelings, the emotions. I feel afraid right now, Lord. And then you look at why you're feeling afraid, and then you talk with the Lord about that. You go, where's that coming from? You know, you want to really identify the feelings and the spirit that is potentially behind that. Why is fear moving in my thought space? And how is it influencing my life right now? And you have a good look at that. And when you recognize what it is, then you can start to flip it over and go, well, actually, I don't have a spirit of fear. I have a sound mind. So this is another thought that I want to implement in that place. And I want to remove that one out and I'm going to change it over for this one. And so then you can actually rewrite your whole narrative. And like, it seems like, what is that all I got to do? Like, I just got to write it all down that was in my head, kind of like a big brain dump onto the paper. And then you pull it apart and you flip it over and you rewrite the narrative. And then you read that over and over and over again. And you allow those words to bring life and substance into your being so that you can rewrite that narrative out, because that new narrative needs to be not only read by you, heard by you, absorbed by you, because then it will have substance. It's truth. So it has life.
Yeah.
And in that life, it will actually rewrite everything that's going on inside of you from that old paradigm, that old limiting belief, that old lie that you have believed for whatever reason. You now have this opportunity to embrace truth and have it come into the very heart of your being and shine out. So yeah, the prayer writing is a really awesome tool. And I've got journals and journals and journals full of it, because I went through many, many a day where it was so loud that I just had to write it to get it out. And one of the things I found, the more that I did that, yeah, it felt uncomfortable sometimes. And I had to be intentional with my time. It was like, I have to write this down so I can see the new narrative that is there. But here's the thing, when you write it all out and you get it all out of your head, all of a sudden you've freed up a whole heap of space. And there's like this breathing room within you where you just go, oh, okay. And then you've got it all out, you're breathing a bit again, and then next thing you know, you're going to hear God's voice. You're going to hear Holy Spirit come in and go, you know, I love you. You know, you're amazing. You know, here's an idea that you hadn't thought of before because it was just too noisy. And I was just waiting until all the noise had moved out of your head. Now there's some space for me to share this with you. And you have these revelatory moments and light bulbs go off where you just go, huh, I hadn't thought of that before. Geez, I'm glad I wrote all that stuff down and got it out of my head. Gosh. And it's like it just gives you space to breathe and space to just go, okay, I can see what's happening. I'm taking real good care of my thought landscape. So if you look at it as a map, you have this amazing landscape within you of where your thoughts go. But when you're caught up in the noise, the anxiety, the overwhelm, you kind of circle around a mountain, around a mountain, around a mountain, around a mountain, and it gets a bit boring and kind of congested. And it's just not the funnest place to be when over there, over the horizon, there's all this uncharted territory that you've never been to, where there's thoughts and ideas and inspiration that is waiting for you, except you've got to get off the mountain of the negative, of that spiral that's taking you out. Get off that mountain and head over there so you can have new thoughts that you have never thought before, so that you can tap into the revelation and the wisdom, because Spirit of Wisdom is waiting to give you exactly what you're asking for in the prayers that you've been praying. We just got to get all the noise out of the way and get off that mountain. And so that is a really helpful tool to do that with the prayer writing.
Absolutely. Just that piece of revelation is enough to kind of shift worlds, shift reality, shift experiences. So that's powerful, KA. So how do we get hold of your book?
Oh my gosh, available on Amazon in any country as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
I love that it's yeah, it's an Amazon book, so it means that you can just order online and they'll ship it straight out to you. And I'm seeing books come out pretty quick. Like they don't muck around with Amazon. They
No,
get it
they,
out to you. Which is awesome. Otherwise, if you're into the whole ebook, Kindle sort of thing, we've got the ebook available as well too. So you can get the digital version straight away. But if you wanted a free chapter, Melissa, I'm happy to give you the link to my free chapter. And you guys can click on that link, sign up, and you'll get the free download. It's chapter 3. It's the phenomenal chapter about this dream that I had of an exploding grasshopper in a microwave. Like it sounds real unrealistic and just crazy, but it is revelatory. It is just on fire chapter. So you can get that for free if you want.
so check out the links. I'll put a link to the Amazon shop as well, so you can order your book. But what if somebody wants to take another step and they actually want to work with you? Can they do that?
Absolutely. One of my favorite things to do is to be a life coach. And you mentioned that earlier when you read my bio. I love helping people see the things that they can't normally see. So, you know, we get blind spots for those of us who know how to drive our cars. You know, we're always shoulder checking or looking in behind us and trying to catch those blind spots where we just can't quite see another car. We have the same in our thoughts, and especially if they've been there for a long period of time, those narratives can hold a space that is very familiar, and we don't always recognize them. So my favorite thing is to sit in a Zoom room like this with a client and just go, share with me your heart. And every now and then I'm going to hear something come out of your mouth and just go, oh, hang on, let's stop and look at that. Why did you say that there? And I love to unravel those places and just bring illumination to go, how about we change that wording and we're going to switch it out and go this way instead? Because that wording keeps you contained and limited in a place where, you know, it's not going to help you grow. But if we switch it out and go this way instead, you watch what opens up in your world and how that will change. So yeah, I love to coach. I love to really, my heart is to listen, to hear your heart, and then to help you move through places that you feel maybe are limiting or causing a blockage, or just where you might feel stuck. I can help you untap those places and yeah, get the river of life moving on through. So you can reach out. My email address will be available, so you can touch base with me. I'm more than happy to meet up, and we'll do a free strategy call and have a chat about what's going on in your world.
Fabulous. That sounds amazing. So I just want to quickly speak to the authors that are listening, the writers, the creatives, the kingdom creatives. What advice would you give someone who is in that process or thinking about stepping into this call of writing their book?
Ah, I think it's just a beautifully brilliant place to go. I know for both of us, we've had our own personal journey of transformation just in that space of writing our book. It is an intimate place with the Lord, and I love how Holy Spirit just will help guide us through the process. Like, you're never alone when you write a book because Holy Spirit's going to always be there going, and have you thought about this? And maybe we could put this in here as well. It's just a really sweet, sweet journey. Um, for our authors, I would just, yeah, my encouragement to you would be dream the dream. Like if Melissa and I both have been able to dream the dream and see our books come into fruition, it can happen for you too. Like, no one gets excluded from this journey, and I love that. And everybody has a story. Everybody has this beautiful process that is personal, unique, and brilliant to them. And identifying your process and how you operate with the Lord and how He wants to speak through you is so priceless. And then being able to put that into paper, into print, and then hand that on, that's a legacy piece. It's just awesome. So I highly encourage you, stay connected with Melissa because she is an excellent coach in that regard for authors for sure. But yeah, you all have a process that is brilliant and unique, and it will always be an impact and a beautiful testimony to the goodness of God and will change somebody's life. So for one person, it is always worth it.
Absolutely. Ka, thank you so much for giving us a glimpse of that beautiful heart of yours. For everybody listening, go out right now, go get a copy of Hearing God in the Noise, download your free chapter, get that free chapter, get connected with Ka, and you can get on that journey of hearing God in the noise and just discovering how much He loves you and how good He is and all the amazing plans He has for your life. So thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks, Ka. Have an awesome day, everyone. Bye.